What's going on, y'all? I've got an awesome, a bunch of awesome buffs and changes to the Oinkologne line for my ROM hack Pokemon Scrambled Scarlet. If you have no idea what Scrambled Scarlet is, before I get into explaining all the, the type changes and all the stuff that's going on the screen right now, if you are new here or you don't know what my hacks are, please go check out the description. There is a link to the Google Sheet down below, and there is also a really important playlist that you can listen to, and it's going to have videos more explaining the philosophy behind the hack, how I'm balancing things, how things work. It's a lot of important information that you can go check out. So yeah, and then of course come back and watch this video because the algorithm will hate me if you click off and then don't come back. But yeah, with that being said, I want to first start off by just addressing the type change because that's obviously what most people are going to be noticing immediately. It's a very drastic one, but it actually fits really well. I unironically feel like they could have had this type combo in vanilla. Maybe with, I mean, ground is more like a ROM hack moment. Like, yeah, they're pigs. They are vaguely associated with the mud. They have the mud patterns, the eye crusty, whatever. I mean, they're a pig. It fits well enough. And of course, I also want to have one Pokemon, at least one Pokemon of every single type combination in this hack. There are a few regional forms I've added to fulfill some of those combos, but Fairy Ground fits Oinkologne really well. And then as for the actual like flavor and stuff, if you read again the Pokedex, I mean, first of all, look at them. Like their name is literally Cologne, right? Like there's Pokemon like Aromatisse, all these Pokemon with Aroma Veil. Like every single Pokemon with Aroma Veil is fairy type besides these guys, because fairy is often associated with like smelling really good or having these like pheromones or scents that are like calming. Like for example, if you read it, says it soothes Pokemon around it with a floral aroma. It entrances Pokemon with the sweet, alluring scent. It really does fit. Like fairy genuinely is a fitting typing for them, unless you're one of those people who falsely views the fairy type as just something that is magical. That's not the case. Fairy can be all, I mean, literally all of these Pokemon, sorry, wrong ability, all of these Pokemon literally disprove that. None of these are necessarily magical Pokemon. They're just like food based or like smell based. Like Aromatisse, for example, was like it's cologne, man. It's the same shit. The same reason Aromatisse is fairy type. So it fits very well. Design-wise, it fits them very well as well. Oinkologne kind of has the color scheme going for him and the vibes, and then obviously the female one has the vibes as well. And then the ground typing again is just because of the pig nature, and also because it's a very unique and strong and fun type combination. So that's explained. All right, that's the rationale for the type change. It gives them tons of great resistances and a good dual stab. It makes them really fun to use. The male is more physically leaning, while the female is specially leaning. Obviously, with lingering aroma, having the higher physical defense is good. But if you look at the female, 115, 85, 105 is still incredibly bulky. Like 115, 85 bulk is really tanky. You don't really. I mean, it's not like it's not taking physical hits well. It's taking them very well still. It's just more leaning in one way, which I just thought was a cool little way to distinguish them from one another. And it fits, a little bit. I just think it's cool. Yeah, so that's Lingering Aroma, great ability, especially when all Pokemon in this game have 3 ability slots that they can switch between at any time, and all Pokemon, like, abilities are a main point in how they function now. Being able to turn those off, for example, you switch in on a Sharpness Pokemon, oh, no more Sharpness, as long as they hit you with the Contact move, which pretty much every Sharpness move would be. Boom, no more Sharpness, boom, no more Ruthless, boom, no more Tough Claws, whatever it is. I'm just listing random boosting abilities, but you can turn off all kinds of abilities with Lingering Aroma, and you can also, I mean, disabling our own ability is very niche. It's not like, besides like Regigigas, but that's not really the main application. The main thing is just you switch to that whenever you want to turn off something's ability, disable something's ability on switch. And it's a very bulky Pokemon, so that functions very well. Thick Fat is a nice little optional, once in a while you'll switch to it. Obviously it makes you not weak to ice anymore, and then it also makes you resist fire. So it's very good. Ground Fairy with a fire resist. I can even, actually I was going to show the type chart for Ground Fairy, but there isn't a Pokemon like that in the real game, so I can't actually do that. But you can, it's got a lot of resistances, all right, especially with Thick Fat. So optionally, it's the most niche of the 3 abilities. Most of the time, you're going to be using either Appetite or Lingering Aroma. Most of the time, it's going to be Appetite because of how good it is. But again, these are optional. Like you switch to these when you need them. So that's very, very useful. And of course, fitting very well. Same with Appetite, fits very well as they are, pigs. Yeah, Appetite is incredible. You get a double berry, so you can use that with all kinds of things, even just plain old citrus. But I think the coolest applications of Appetite are Key and Moringa berry. You switch in and you get +2 defense or +2 special defense, and then you would just become like extremely bulky, and you can 1v1 things very easily, and it's just very, very, very good. You can also use that in conjunction with Engorge, which is Stuffed Cheeks, but it gives you +1 defenses instead of just +2 defense. So essentially, you can click Engorge. A really cool application of Appetite is Slackberry, though. I think even early game, dude, this is such a good ability for literally the entire game. It's so good. Even early game, like, you've got this bulky Lechonk. You can run like Endure Slackberry Flail. Like, that's fucking crazy, dude. Like, you get +2 speed, and then you have 200 base power, 150 base power Flail. It's very, very good. And of course, with Infinite Move Learner, the applications for your moves are infinite. You have so much freedom and flexibility with your move pool and being able to switch between things and run a utility for one fight and run an offensive Appetite set for the next, and run a bulky set. You have so much freedom. All right, so that's all really cool tools. And Appetite again has other applications as well. I covered most of the important ones. Most of the important ones are just pinch berries, key, moringa, and citrus. Everything else is kind of niche, but those are the main good things you can do with Appetite. An Aromatic Mist is an incredible debuffing move that is exclusive. All of these moves here are exclusive. That's why they're listed differently from the other moves. Also, I didn't say this yet, but if you are new here, there is a massive Google... I should have said there's a Google Sheet link down below, but you can see it yourself in the description. But yeah, and all the move categories are linked and labeled and organized, so very, very useful. And here's the table of contents and stuff, so you can check all that out. But yeah, Lingering Aroma is great. Thick Fat is great on some specific cases. It's very useful. And then yeah, Appetite's great. Aromatic Mist, great debuffing move. It drops attack, special attack, and special defense by 2. And again, in-game debuffing moves are incredible. They're basically permanent unless the opponent has a crit move, which a lot of the time they will, especially later in the game. Or if they end up using a switch move like Parting Shot to get out. Speaking of switch moves, I try my hardest to give every single Pokemon one of the 5 switch moves in the game. In this case, the only one I really saw on them was Baton Pass, so they have Baton Pass. It's negative priority now, so it's a nice little... I mean, they're slow anyways, but yeah. Speaking of the speed, yes, the speed is dropped. Choice Scarf stocks are down the drain. Dudes never... Oh, Choice Scarf High Horse, not High Long Rush, the dreams are over. Obviously I'm kidding, because if you want speed, you can just use Appetite plus Slackberry and get +2. +2 speed at base 45 is outspeeding. So for example, if you have a neutral nature Oinkologne and you have max speed EVs and you get Slackberry with Appetite, you will be able to outspeed base 120 and above. I think it's like probably 122 or something like that, something around there. Maybe 121 or something. Makes you very fast is the point. And that's with a plus speed nature. Like, you outspeed a base 120 Pokemon with plus speed nature. If it has a neutral speed nature, you're outspeeding like 135, 140 at that point. So very, very, very good. Very fast. Obviously, that's great dual stab as well. Great coverage. I mean, it doesn't need too much coverage on the special side, obviously. So another thing I want to mention is that even though their stats are flipped, the male and female, I already covered that their FizzDef / SPDef, like the 85, is still very good when they have 115 HP. It's like very, very good. But even the 75 attack or special attack is also actually useful. Like, you can still, with infinite mover learner, infinite EV training, all this customizability, you can totally run like a special male Oinkologne once in a while. For a specific boss fight, especially considering the game is intended to be played team locked. Some boss fights you might want to hit like a Mud Bomber or something to break a sash or whatever, because that is a multi-hit ground type special surging strikes. So that's a nice little tool for like breaking sashes and just being a strong move in general, stronger than Earth Power. Mud Shower you've got earlier on in the game, and Mud Shower also drops speed by 2, so you can use that for some utility. And you got all types of stuff. You guys can read. I trust that everybody who's watching this video is literate and can look at the screen and look at what they do and maybe search some things up. Something I didn't mention yet is Engorge plus Belch. That's an incredible combo. Like a very, very good combo. Because Belch will now give you +1 special attack, so essentially you can use like something like maybe Slack Engorge plus Belch and get +1 special attack, +2 speed, and +1 defenses. Engorge is relatively late, level 45, but if you look at the level cap / the boss fight order, you can see at what point you'll be getting these moves. Keep in mind there are 5 different versions of the game with 5 different paths. Yeah, you've got some, reliable sleep stuff. Dreamy Kiss is guaranteed 2 turns of sleep, 85% accuracy. You can use that with Wide Lens to never miss, because Wide Lens is buffed, and literally every single inaccurate move in the game will never miss with wide lens because of, just that's nice for consistency. Um, High horsepower, I didn't talk about that yet, damn. High horsepower, I mean, you guys can bring it up, right? It's all on the screen. That's another exclusive tool that I only give to Pokemon with hooves, or like hooved. Like something like Mamoswine can maybe use it, even though he technically doesn't have hooves because he is still like, a mammoth pig type of guy. I don't know, like Rhyhorn, he can probably use it even though he's not technically hooved. Any type of Pokemon with that type of either the literal hooves or hoof adjacent things can use high horsepower, and this is one of several exclusive, excuse me, exclusive flinch moves in the game. So essentially, that is a strong tool versus the AI. It's only 1 PP, and there's no level berry in the game obtainable by the player, but it's still very good to, you know, either break a sash or just get that priority one-time use type of move. You also have access to buffed Quick Claw, so for certain fights, their role might, depending on the matchup, your role might be as simple as just switch in, Quick Claw, Goob, kill, with a strong move, coverage move, whatever it is. But of course, Item Clause limits that, so you need to pick your item choices carefully because the game is intended to be played with Item Clause. I think I've covered basically everything. Headlong Rush might seem kind of weird because they're not like the most Unga, like Ooga Booga type of pig Pokemon. They're not like super broody, like they can still charge at you is my vision. Headlong Rush is gonna have pretty reasonable distribution, pretty high relatively speaking distribution, especially on like Pokemon like with this type of like body, like a pig or a horse type of guy. Like they can totally use like Headlong Rush. Yeah, early game, obviously you got Slack Off at the start. That's great for the whole game whenever you needed the heal move. Although of course you have Appetite plus Citrus Berry as well for healing. Yeah, Draining Kiss, Disarming, debuffing moves, those are great. Obviously, I've already covered Aromatic Mist, but earlier on, you've got stuff like Draining Kiss and Chilling Water. Did I say Draining Kiss? I meant Disarming Voice and Chilling Water to drop attacking stats. You've got plenty of coverage. I give him Surf because pigs are actually really good swimmers. You can look it up. And I just think it fits their vibes. I don't know, some weird Pokemon get Surf once in a while. I think it's cool. Same with Water Pulse, and they already learned Chilling Water, so... Yeah, I've covered pretty much everything here. I give him some poison moves, and the poison moves are technically weird if you think about it a little too much, because it does say that they're meticulous and they like to keep things tidy, but at the end of the day, they're still pigs, and they still learned like Mud Shot and stuff by TM, like Mud Slap, Mud Shot. So if they can get mud moves, they can get some Sludge Bomb type of stuff too for coverage via TM. So yeah, thank you for listening. Again, Lingering Remote's great, switch around, pivot, destroy abilities. Thick Fat, useful for switching to occasionally to take specific attacks, and then Appetite is your main great ability. But all of their abilities are great, and you have that use case for all of them. Other stuff, early on you have Flail, Stockpile, Swallow, you've got Hoodwink for coverage on Lechonk. You could also technically, even Sweet Scent, that's a debuffing move, Tail Wag, these are all good debuffing moves, early game. And in general, Sweet Scent, you can totally use that, at least until you get Aromatic Mist, because Sweet Scent is objectively a worse version of Aromatic Mist by design. I believe Sweet Scent is just the same thing, but +1, right? That's what I made it. It's different from Sweltering, that's why I have to check. Yeah, it's the same thing, but it's only -1, which is still great, dude. Like, that's still really fucking good, -1 attack, special defense, especially at the beginning of the game. So yeah, Lechonk even is great. You could totally keep him with a Violite if you like Lechonk. Obviously, Appetite plus a Violite does not synergize very well, but you can even just keep him past 25, even if you want to delay the evolution for a specific boss, maybe. Maybe like you're about to fight a specific boss where the matchup is worse, and so you want to keep Lechonk for the type combo or whatever. You could totally use him. Even the whole game if you really wanted to. You can make it work, dude. Like, he's bulky. So you could, especially with Lingering Aroma and stuff. Yeah, I've covered pretty much everything. Thank you for listening, and I'll be back for more coming up. Peace. Also, leave a comment if you listen this far into the video. Seriously, if you are hearing me say these words, drop a comment. Let me know. Peace.